Good morning, and thank you for coming to the presentation of the Senior Tax Assistance Program for the City of Saco. I'm Megan Levine, and I'm your Deputy Finance Director. I'm here joined by Ron Heiser and Jean Saunders from Age Friendly Saco, whom everyone seems to know. So we are just going to get started with a quick overview of the program this morning, and then Ron will go into a little more detail on the property tax fairness credit from the state of Maine, and then Jean's going to go over some of the other programs and resources available from Age Friendly Saco. So with that, I'll get started with my slideshow presentation. The City of Saco's Senior Tax Assistance Program offers property tax credits, and actually I'm just going to lose my mask so everyone can actually see my face and hear my voice more fully, so I'm not muffled into the mic. I apologize for the COVID adjustments. So we're offering a property tax credit to qualifying seniors that matches the property tax fairness credit offered by the state of Maine through your income tax returns. In order to qualify for the program, just gonna quick flick to the next slide. Applicants must be 65 years of age or older. They must have lived in Saco for 10 consecutive years as a homeowner or a renter. They must be the recipient of that Maine property tax fairness credit. And again, you'll find that with your 1040 ME, the Maine, state of Maine income tax return, schedule PTFC. If you're a property owner, you also have to have applied for the Homestead Exemption, and you have to have paid property taxes or your rent due through the application deadline. So the first half of your property taxes for this year that were due in September must have been paid. All right. So next, of course, is that deadline. It's coming right up. February 15th, we're due. The first page of our application form is just a full page of instructions, and it's very, very short, very quick, very to the point. You'll need to fully complete the program application. You'll need to sign the authorization form for the state of Maine, allowing us to receive information for your property tax fairness credit from them. You'll want to attach your 2020 PTFC schedule from that 1040 ME, and then you return the application here to City Hall. Either by mail or walk it right in. Anyone at the front counters can take that application for you. I would put it in a sealed envelope to protect your personal information, just to make sure. They will be putting it in an envelope if you don't have it in an envelope already at those front counters. The next page of my slideshow here, which looks like I clicked to by accident, is the application form itself. It's very simple. The top part of the form is just your general information. And then the bottom of the form has you answer those 5 questions, the 5 eligibility requirements that I mentioned to you earlier. Are you 65 years of age or older? Have you been here for 10 years? Did you qualify for that property tax fairness credit? And have you paid your property taxes and applied for that homestead exemption? And then once you sign and date that form, that is pretty much it for that portion of the application. That second piece is the information release form. And on that form, you're just saying that we, the City of Saco, can attain that information from the state of Maine for the tax year 2020. That's the hard part for everyone thinks they're doing the 2021 taxes. We're a little late getting started this year. In the future, this program will have a deadline of July 1st, and it will be off of that tax year that you just completed. This year, we're a little late to the table because it is a new program. So we're looking for 2020 taxes to go along with this. And again, it's a very simple form, your name, your signature, your social security number, and your property address, and that form's done. And then the last form, the last page of the application, is for renters only. It's a way to certify that you have lived here for 10 years if we don't have access to your tax bills. So you would give us your landlord's name, phone number, and the address and mailing address of that property so that we can contact them to just certify that 10-year requirement. And then the last piece of this is the piece that I get all the questions on, and it's that PTFC form. How do I apply for my state of Maine property tax fairness credit? And it is something you would have applied for with your 2020 tax return. It is definitely, it's actually a fairly simple form in and of itself. It is 2 pages. I'm just showing you the first page here to just kind of give you an example of what we're looking for when you bring in your application packet. And I won't go into too much detail on that because Ron Heiser knows all about it, and he's my resident authority on that program. But just to give you an example of what that looks like. And then on this next slide, I've taken a screenshot of the income eligibility requirements. And so as you can see from the table, it has a lot to do with how you filed your taxes and what your elections were on that tax form. So it's not something I can tell you yes or no over the phone immediately. It's something you actually have to talk to your tax preparer about, whether or not you're preparing those. I have heard from some people that TurboTax does apply this directly to you if you're using that sort of a program. I've also heard that different tax preparers have definitely walked people through that program, so it's a well-known in the tax preparer community. But whether or not if you're filing your own or if you don't file taxes or if you haven't filed your 1040ME because you just aren't required to, it's definitely worth a call to Age Friendly Saco, where they have helpful tax preparers who can walk you through the easy process. I've heard that AARP is another really good resource for that. And so I did include their phone number right on this slide. But also we have at the back of the room, and I should have said this to start with, but we have all of the paperwork on these programs. The applications back there for you, the Homestead Exemption application. If you haven't applied in the past, it's definitely worth applying. It takes $25,000 this year off the taxable value of your home, so it lowers your tax bill considerably. And then we also have a list of other programs back there that are offered either by the state of Maine or the city of Saco that are worth looking into if you need tax assistance. And this, again, my next couple of slides is just contact information for those programs. So at this time, if I've gone over everything that the City of Saco's program is required for the City of Saco's program, I'm going to hand it over to Ron Heiser and Jean Saunders, and Age Friendly Saco, and they can walk you through exactly what they're offering for the PTFC. Thank you so much for listening.
Good morning. Great job, Megan. My voice sound okay to everyone? Great. So now I have to put my stuff up. All right, so the first form that I've put up is actually the 1040ME. So this is the Maine tax return form. And I want to show you on the form, in case you've already filed for this, whether you have received the property tax fairness credit. That doesn't mean you can't still get it. But the highlighted line, the blue highlighted line is 25D. That is where it would show up on your state of Maine tax return for 2020. So if it's 0 there, that doesn't mean you're shut out. It might mean that the preparer or yourself didn't complete the form correctly. So if you have questions about whether you qualify after this information, I'd be happy to talk with you. All right, so that's just where it would be. I'm going to show you the schedule and just try to help you understand what kind of income counts towards the categories. I'm going to go to the categories first. So here you can see that I'm going to highlight so you can see where I am on the form. So if you're filing as a single individual, and most people, our age don't have dependents, but if you have a dependent, you would go farther to the right. But if you're just filing for yourself and single, $42,000 is the maximum income. We're not talking taxable income, we're talking income. So on your tax return, things like some of your Social Security might get deducted and things like that. So you've got to put that stuff back in. If you're married or a head of household, it can go up to $54,000 in income. The amount of credits you're going to get varies based upon the income and how close you get to that maximum and what kind of either property taxes or rent that then gets converted into an equivalent property tax amount you're paying. Talk a little about the rent piece in a second. All right, so now if we go back up on the form to look at the income, so it wants all of your income. If you've completed a federal tax return, you're going to do line number 2, which is right here. You're going to put in the number that came off your federal return, and down below, add back any Social Security that wasn't taxed and any interest that wasn't taxed. Both of those are pretty clear on the form. Again, if people need help, glad to help. If you don't have to file a federal tax return because your income's too low to have to file, you can use Section 1, which lets you just put in all your sources of income and get a total. Both ways are possible. So if you're not required to file a federal tax return or a state of Maine tax return, you can just do this form. And I've done that already for a few people in town. All right. So the other piece of the calculation is what kind of taxes you're paying. So it's pretty straightforward. If you're paying property tax on a home you own, you just put that number on line 4, which I'm going to highlight. That's all you have to do, right? And then you follow the rest of the form down to determine what kind of eligibility you have. If you're paying rent, you have to fill out this next section, which is 5. And before we go any farther, you can be doing a combo. I happen to know some folks in the audience that owned a house for part of 2020 and started paying rent later in the year. You can do both. Put the property tax on line 4 and do the calculation for the rent on section 5. So it asks you whether your rent includes utilities. If it does, it deducts the utilities, if you know exactly what they are. If you don't, it has you deduct 15% of the rent, because that's their estimate of what utilities cost. And then after you net it down to that pre-utility number, or if you don't pay utilities, you don't subtract anything, then it gets multiplied by 15% to come up with the amount they're assuming you paid in property tax. And then you can complete the rest of the form. It gives you a base amount in this section here. I know this is probably like, glazed over a lot of people, but I just want to kind of give a sense of how it's a little complicated to tell you. And this is why Megan's like, we can't just say what the number is. You got to put it into a calculation. So the number for single people, the base number is this number here, $2,100. The base number for married or head of household is $2,700. And then your income gets deducted. So as your income goes up, you start deducting more. It's 5% of your income. So if you make $42,000 exactly, 42,000 times 5%, 2,100. Start with 2,100, take away 2,100, you get 0 benefit. So as your income goes down, your benefit can increase. The other factor is property tax. So there's a calculation. If you don't pay enough property tax, you can start to lose out as well. So it's 2 moving pieces. But if you can work your way through the form, do it. If you can't, you can reach out to Age Friendly and they'll connect you with me and we can help you out. Or if you have a tax preparer, you can just double check with them as to why there isn't any on the tax form. They might be able to tell you why, or if they even tried it for you. All right? Good? Yeah. Anybody have questions?
I'm just wondering, do you need a copy of federal and the state income tax?
No, for me to help you prepare it? Or for you to do it yourself?
I've already sent it in, and all I did was where it shows the page 2, where it shows how much that PF.
Yeah, the 25D,
yeah,
yes.
I just added that page.
Yep.
So is that enough? That's
Absolutely.
enough?
If you've
I don't
already-
have to put the copies of...
Correct. If you already have the property tax fairness credit, you just submit a copy showing
That's all you
that
need.
page of your tax return, and then
Absolutely.
Megan's
Okay, that's all.
office will be able to verify with the state.
Yeah, we've received a variety of forms actually back in the mail at this point, because of course it was a very quick turnaround. But all I need is a copy of that PTFC form, and that PTFC form will show exactly how much. And I also need that authorization from the state of Maine. So it's an authorization form. It's the second page of the application, and it allows me to receive information from the state of Maine verifying that that was truly the amount that you received for this year. So those are the two things that we need to kind of set up processing those applications.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great. Glad you were able to get it completed.
Oh, we have someone in the back of the room.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking we'd do.
Yep, so sorry. And that, again, for the people on Facebook or anyone watching this morning, we were just answering the question of what forms do you need to return with your City of Saco application. And that, again, is the PTFC schedule from your 1040ME.
I know that our discussion this morning relates to the Saco Tax Assistance Program, but some may have also heard about the last item here about the tax deferrals, the state property tax deferral program, you know.
Yes.
And so I got some information on that. And what I was told was that if you can't do both, that if somebody applies for this program that you're talking about this morning, okay, that they cannot also go into the state program because it specifically says that people cannot be participating in both of these. You agree with that?
That's absolutely correct. It is one or the other. You have to either apply for the state deferral program, which the assessor's office has a lot more information on, and Brooke is here if anyone has any questions on that program. It's in either or.
Some people have said that they think that, you know, oh gosh, you know, that's great, you know, to do both of them at the same time, you know. And so I checked on that, and they said no. It's specifically in the material that I got. It says specifically you cannot be a participant in any municipal program.
Right.
Thank you.
You must live here 10 years in Saco, is that the...
That is the requirement for this year's program.
And if you don't, then you don't...
Then you won't qualify. Exactly.
Thank you.
We had to have a time limit in the program per state law.
Both programs? So that...
Can you repeat the question?
Sure.
Of course.
This person wasn't understanding the other program that was just brought up by the gentleman regarding the property tax deferral program that just passed in the state. It's a program, as best I understand it, I'm not going to claim to be an expert, but it allows you to, instead of paying your property taxes, you can have the state enroll you in this program, and you can have them deferred, and then when the property sells, all the property taxes have to be paid back. I'm not clear on whether there's any interest or anything like that that gets assessed. I'm guessing there is, but it's a way to help people stay in their homes too.
I'll just jump in and say, I'm Jean Saunders, I help coordinate Age-Friendly Saco, that there is a special program. Senator Donna Bailey is the one that championed the state deferral program, tax deferral program, on February 28th. There'll be a lunch and learn at Saco Parks and Rec, if anybody's interested. February 28th. I believe it's at noontime, but you can call Parks. I'm sorry?
Might be full.
It wasn't full at the time. You can call and check and see if you're interested in learning more about that program. It was rescheduled. It was originally scheduled in January, got rescheduled in February. But I would definitely call Parks and Rec and see if you can get into that session if you're interested. Yes, certainly.
She's coming.
It looks like there's someone right behind
She
you.
didn't make it that far.
If I haven't received any of these state exemptions in the past, do I go through this process for next year?
If you haven't received the property tax fairness credit,
Or the, yeah.
we can help you determine if you're eligible for the 2020
Thanks.
benefit. And if you are, you can apply for this program.
Thanks.
And if you haven't qualified in the past and you do qualify with upcoming tax returns, we are planning on moving forward with this program in new tax years. So for the 2021 taxes, we are planning the City of Saco's program to have an application deadline of July 1st for this coming year, and that will look back to the 2021 tax return for that PTFC eligibility. Okay?
I've already applied for this, but I did it with the 2021 tax return. So what do I do now? Because you already have my application.
Yes, if you've already submitted your application with the wrong tax year, just bring in the correct tax year and I'll attach it to your application form. We'll
Okay.
change that,
And
change that date and have you sign a new form.
And when would somebody find out? I mean, like, when is your time to let people know?
That's a great question, and I've gotten a lot of that question over the phone recently as well. If you've turned in your application already and you're waiting to hear back from me, the application deadline was February 15th. I have to put together a spreadsheet of a list of all the names of people who have applied for the program, Social Security number, all of that, to send off to the state of Maine to verify the exact amounts that were passed out by the state of Maine. After I get that information back from the state of Maine, I'm going to contact each person and let them know of their qualification in our program, exactly how much will be applied to the second half of their tax bills, and how much is remaining due on those tax bills.
So it will be on the second half.
It will be applied to the second half. If it goes over the amount of the second half, then we'll have to look at refunds, but at the same time, for the most part, it'll just be applied to the second half of your tax bill, and we'll contact you with the exact amounts and the exact amounts due.
Okay. Do I understand that this year you're doing double?
We are, for this 1 year, offering a double the credit that the state of Maine has offered. So the city has, this program replaced two programs, the tax work-off program and the stamp program. And so this year, and of course knowing that everyone's been hard hit by different things happening over the last couple of years, the city did decide to double the credit that the city of Saco will be giving out. So it will be twice the amount of your PTFC credit, not to exceed the amount of your tax bill minus that credit.
Thank you very much.
Of course. We have a couple more up here, Tori. She's working her way around.
How will renters receive their money? And I can't remember what else I was going to ask.
That's a great question. Of course, the renters don't have a tax bill to apply that amount to, so they will receive a check in the mail.
Yes, we were still part of the work-off program back in 2020.
I'm sorry?
They were part of the tax work.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
We were part of the work-off program right till they terminated it.
Mm-hmm.
So on our 2020 return, we actually received credit through that program.
Yes.
So we cannot apply for this
You received credit through
through City of Saco for
the tax work-off program? So I was under the impression that they hadn't run the tax work-off program for this year. So
2020.
for the prior year. Yes, they did the final payments, I think January and May of this year for work performed over the prior year.
Right.
You would be eligible for this year's program, to apply for this year's program, because we didn't do the
2020.
What's that?
Not for the year 20, we wouldn't be
I think I can help. I think I can help. So even though you got that benefit for the 2020, and it may seem funny that you're using your 2020 tax return to qualify for the 21, 22 taxes. So that's why it's okay to do both, right? You got that benefit for last year's taxes. Okay. This is a program that's going to benefit you for 21, 22 based upon your earnings in 2020.
But our actual credit came in, the last credit we had was in March of 21.
Right.
It's okay.
So
it's a different tax year.
Yes, it was actually applied to last year's tax bills. Yeah. So this is the program that we're using to affect this year's tax bills. So that credit that you received last March was actually applied to last year's, the 2020, 2021 tax bill. This one will be applied to the 2021, 2022 tax bill. So you are still eligible for this program if you were eligible for the tax work-off program last year. Okay. It doesn't overlap.
Okay. But I guess what I'm just saying is we can't apply for this one, can we?
Yes, you can.
You can.
Okay,
absolutely.
Then we need to talk to somebody.
Okay, and we'll be available after the meeting to talk to people, of course.
Yeah, one-on-one.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And of course, if anyone online or watching through Facebook, my direct extension here is 207-710-2654, and you're welcome to call me with any questions on this program. We also have Age-Friendly Saco, who's available, and I know that that phone number was up on the web page as well.
So the phone number for Age-Friendly, if you want to get some help preparing the tax return part, is 710-5029, and they'll connect you with me.
Perfect.
Ron Heiser.
Were there any other questions? Yeah.
Megan, do we have to every year reapply with the application?
This will be a program where I have to have you apply every year for this program, yes, for the City of Saco program. And of course, every year you will have to be eligible for that PTFC through the state of Maine.
Correct.
Yes.
I didn't know if you went to your accountant, if they did it the previous year, that they would do it again on your taxes.
Yeah, you should make sure that they do look at it for you. You know, mention that when you give them your information for this year, that you want them to find out if you qualify for the PTFC.
Okay. Now, age-friendly. I have a question for you. This refund on your taxes, if you qualify, will that be considered income when you do your income taxes?
No.
No. All right.
Because they're just reducing your taxes, so it's not income.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yep. Kind of like a rebate.
Anybody else? We do have at least one question on Facebook, so.
Okay. Thank you, Tori.
First of all, before we get to Facebook questions, Brooke here is from our assessing department, and she would like to talk to you about the homestead exemption.
I just wanted to make a clarification with applying for the senior tax assistance program. You will have to do the application every year, but with the homestead being a requirement for the program, you only have to apply for that once, and then it stays with you on the property until you move. Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me better now? Okay. So with the senior tax assistance program, you have to apply for that every year. But with the homestead exemption, you only have to apply for that once, and then it stays on your property until you move to another location. So that one you won't have to apply for again. I just want to make that clear.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that application form for the homestead credit is on the table out back too.
So we have one question that came in through Facebook, and this person said, I'm not yet 65, however, my spouse is. Would he qualify for the program?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Only one person in the household has to be 65 and lived in the city for 10 or more years.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Oh, we do have one more question.
I have a question. I'm not interested in the yearly, every year taxes. I'm going to go for the end where we defer the property taxes till we pass away. My husband's 85 and I'm 83. And once we sign up for this, would we have to do it every year too?
I think Brooke's with us and could probably answer that question more fully than I would. She's shaking her head no, but I'm sure there's more of an answer than that.
All right, so once you enter the state property tax deferral program, you're in it until you withdraw, which you can withdraw at any time. Sorry, I'm just looking up my little fact sheet. So withdrawing from the program will be when the homeowner passes away, if the property is sold, or the property ceases to be the homeowner's homestead. But you don't have to apply for it every year. You apply for it once. You have until April 1st to apply for the Maine state property deferral. You would have to bring the application into the assessing office, and then we would forward it to Augusta to be processed. No problem.
I'm gonna take a moment to jump in, and certainly feel free to ask more questions. So again, my name is Jean Saunders. I help to coordinate some of the activities through Age-Friendly Saco. We are here to try and help people stay in their homes. We offer various programs. Our most recent program that we're starting, which some of you have probably heard about, is our medical rides transportation program. We're very fortunate to have 2 AmeriCorps volunteers this year working with us to help start this program and provide rides. And sitting in the back of the room, I'd like her to stand up, is our AmeriCorps member, Linda Babbitt. She will be driving you to your medical appointments, and I would strongly recommend that you, consider using this resource. We hope to expand beyond just Saco in time to provide rides to the greater community as well, trying to utilize volunteer drivers. You'll be seeing more about this information, hopefully in the Courier and again on our social media sites. I also wanted to let you know that we have upcoming programs. One of them is called Cutting the Cord. Of course, we're always interested in how we can help people save money. So one of the ways is, can you get rid of cable? And so we have a program coming up. We partner with Saco Parks and Rec, a lunch and learn program, where we will actually be doing an educational program on how to live stream. How can you learn how to stream? How can you figure out how to use either a Roku or a, what's the other one? Fire Stick or Roku. So people coming to this particular educational program will have their choice, will actually be given a device, thanks to the generosity of our local Saco Bay Rotary Club that gave us a grant to buy these devices. So that'll be a 2-part program. And again, I'd encourage you to call our age-friendly office number for more information to learn about this, or Saco Parks and Rec as well. We also have, in the past, had given out Echo Dots. We have a very interesting video that was produced by our own Andrew Dickinson here. That's a phenomenal depiction of how this can become a virtual personal assistant in your home, how you can actually, in an emergency, call the non-emergency number in the fire department, et cetera. And again, if you're interested, please call our number. We have handy helpers that provide small home repairs, but we also have now a team of tech handy helpers that go into the homes and help install, like the Echo Dot and the Fire Stick or the Roku. I'm really good at this. So those are just some of the things that I wanted to let you know about, and to encourage you to always reach out to us. We have people answering the phone, and if you don't get it, if by any chance the phone isn't answered, leave a message and we will definitely call you back. We are here to help people find resources in the community, connect you with the resources, and we always love having more people join our team. So if you're interested in volunteering, we would love that as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here for you.
Do we have any other questions regarding the assistance programs?
No, but the people on Facebook will be able to hear.
Where would I get more information on the tax deferral? I know you don't know that, you're saying you don't know a whole lot about it. My question, I'll ask you a question, maybe you know the answer to this. Let's just say someone wanted to defer 1 year for a reason, for whatever reason, can't do it. Once you sign up for it, you're there until you're sold your house, you're gone?
I believe you can get back out of the state tax deferral program. You just need to contact the state on that.
Okay, so
yeah.
I don't have to sell my house or pass away or something to get out of it, obviously.
I'm not going to answer the question.
You can withdraw from the program at any time.
Okay.
Are the taxes then due at that point?
Yes, the taxes will be due plus interest.
Do you know how much the interest is?
I do not know. It's to be determined based off of, I'm really not sure what the factors are that go into determining that.
How much your taxes are, maybe, or how much?
I have no idea how much the interest would be.
Okay.
So again, I'll just jump in here. Senator Donna Bailey is providing a session about this new program through Saco Parks and Rec, a lunch and learn program. I'd encourage you to call Parks and Rec and see if you can join that lunch and learn program, and she can answer all of those questions. She's the one that actually initiated this bill and is the most knowledgeable and can answer any question.
Thank you very much.
I'm also trying to share a slide that has all of the property tax information. Not entirely sure how to get to that for you.
I'm going to jump in again because obviously I have a lot to say. But you should know that even if you don't feel like you can come to the office or someplace, Ron has been willing and has gone to people's homes to help them complete these forms. So Ron is an AARP prepared, certified tax preparer, so he's a phenomenal asset, and you should avail yourself of his expertise if you have any questions, especially this particular year. This is a great year to jump on board and get that double credit this 1 year.
So we have put up the slide with all sorts of information on different tax assistance programs for you. There is a prepared sheet of paper at the back of a listing of all of these programs and all of the contact information for these programs, both at the state of Maine and at the city of Saco. It's available on the back table today, and it will be available downstairs in the lobby next to the registrations desks as well. It also went out to most of our seniors in a postcard format. So if you've received your postcard, all of that information is available on that postcard as well. Does anyone else have any questions? Do we have one more?
On this tax thing, to get the refund, are we going to find this out before the taxes are actually due this year? No, I know it's
That's a big question. It's been coming in a lot. Yes, you will definitely find out. I will be contacting people as to whether or not they're eligible for the City of Saco program before their taxes are due. I'm going to contact each person individually this year. Because we're so close to that due date, I want people to get the information directly. So we will be reaching out by phone, by email, by all the contact information we have in here to let you know that whether or not you're eligible and how much will be applied to the second half of your taxes.
And that double amount that this lady talked about, is that automatic or you have to do something else special to get double the amount of what you received last year? from the state?
Okay, so the state of Maine is not doing a double amount for this year. It's the city of Saco's tax assistance program that's doing double that's what the state program has already given you. And so you don't have to do anything else. It's just the application for this year that allows us to give you double that credit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is Art doing the tax work in Biddeford this year? I had to travel to quorum 3 times last year.
Yeah, not that I know of. Not that I know of. Scarborough might be closer than Gorham. There's a site at the Saco Public Library.
Okay, Scarborough. Okay, thanks.
That might be the closest.
And again, I see people with pens out trying to write down what's on the screen quickly. There are copies of this list on the back table for when you leave.
I just wanted to know, I've received my tax bill. Should I hold off paying it until I hear from you? Or should I just pay it while I've got the money and you'll give me a credit?
So I will be sending everything off to the state on February 15th. So we should hear back from them in plenty of time before the tax bills are due for me to apply the credits to your account. And then you'll hear from me. So I might hold off. If by chance the tax bill has been paid ahead of time, then we'll issue the refund for the amount.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. So if no one else has any other questions, Tori, do we have anything else on Facebook that we need to answer? Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. This has been a really productive session.
Thank you.
The coffee and donuts.